find a builder that communicates well, find a builder that has a brilliant process system, and just find a builder that cares. Because if you can find someone that is going to take the time to sit down with you and go over everything and really slow that process down at the start, it's only going to end in a brilliant experience.
Thinking about building or renovating? Or maybe you are already knee-deep in a project now. Are you feeling unsure of which steps to take and if you are making the right calls? You're not alone. Welcome to Builders Beyond Borders, the podcast where experienced Aussie builders share real stories, insider tips, and practical advice so you can build with confidence, avoid costly mistakes, and actually enjoy the journey. Let's dive in.
G'day, guys, and welcome back to Builders Beyond Borders, our podcast. We've established this to educate prospects, clients, and ex-clients that we've had throughout the building process, and just trying to help change the overall stigma that people's relationships with builders, and we're just trying to change the world, I suppose you'd say. So our topic today is it's a good one. It's how to choose the right builder for your job and for the type of job you have, and also why you should research your builder. Today we've got Andy Kearns from Perway Constructions over in Perth. We've also got Dean and Shannon from down in Launceston from DJH Builders. We have Hugh from New Rowan Homes in southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. And we've also got Paul from Independent Building Solutions in Canberra. A nice and fresh day today, guys. So how to choose the right builder for the job and why you should research the builder and also sub-trades. This is also about building relationships with electricians, plumbers, tilers, whatever job you may have around the home that you need done. Paul, I'll go to you first. What are the initial steps people should take when beginning the process of selecting a builder for their project?
Well, I think you just need to probably research their background a little bit. It's probably the most important thing. I mean, their websites, most websites have got referrals, references, that sort of thing, or Google reviews and things like that. Most of our work over the years has come from referral work, which has been, friends, neighbours, or relatives of someone we've done a job before. So it's usually it puts you in a pretty good position for getting work because you've been highly recommended by someone close to them. So I think that's the way you need to look at it. If you've got a builder in mind and you don't know much about him, you probably need to look into a couple of previous projects and see if you can talk to a couple of previous clients. That's probably the best thing. That's usually the most the securest way of being sure you know what you're getting, I think. Other than that, I guess it's time in the industry can be, experience. Are they well established? Things like that. Which I guess is probably the stuff people do look for. It's just whether they research it properly or not is probably the main thing. I think, because I think with some references, especially ones that are on your websites and things like that, you could make them up. They can be manufactured. So I guess Google reviews and references from directly from a client, a previous client, is probably the best thing. Because even Google reviews can be a bit tricky at times because a lot of people just won't write Google reviews. A lot of people don't like doing that sort of thing for some reason. We find that ourselves, asking people to do them for us, and a lot of them never bother getting around to it. They tell us how happy they are and how good the job's, and they're happy to write a reference, but for some reason they won't get off the backside and do a Google review for you. So, yeah, reference direct from a previous client, I think, is probably the best thing to be doing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think maybe two of the biggest things that people should look for when looking for a builder? Not just works that they've done, but behaviour, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, I guess that's why it's good to talk to previous clients, because they'll talk about the contractors and the guys on site and how easy they were to get along with, how helpful they were, whether they were rude or well-mannered and, that type of thing, because that's behavioural stuff is very important too, especially with renovation work, because you're working on a house where people are living, and there's children, there's all that sort of thing as well. So it's being polite, being helpful and friendly, and trying to work in conjunction with them when they're trying to get in and out and you're trying to get in and out and all that sort of stuff, because that can sometimes be a little bit frustrating at times. So you've got to be patient and you've got to be easy to get along with. So those things I think are pretty important too. like I say, especially with extension renovation work when you're working on someone's house.
Yeah, especially if they're living in the house at the time, like you said, it can be. Some people are very clean and they like, their house to be spotless. And if we're coming in and making, all kinds of dust and noise and traffic and all that sort of stuff, you've got the potential for damage and that can sort of sour the relationship pretty quick. So I think you're bang on there. Hugh, I'll go to you. Social media, how much does that help and hinder the people that are looking for us as custom builders?
It's funny because when we started talking about the aspect of choosing a builder and that sort of thing, it was I felt as though with how much work is actually being done on social media or is being presented on social media, it can be absolutely amazing because you can showcase absolutely everything that you're doing across social media, and generally speaking, we'll see the best of what's being showcased. We're not necessarily going to see, let's say, the mistakes or the problems or the issues that are going on particular projects. And let's face reality. Every project has a problem, if not multiple problems that arise during a build. There's no sort of getting around that, and it's all things that are unforeseen. But social media, it's a double-edged sword. And I've seen that with myself. I've seen it with other people. I've seen all this sort of thing happen where we can do a lot of advertising and people can find us through social media. And social proof, when it comes to what's happening in any industry, not just limited to the building industry, but social proof is something that is right across the board and everybody's on social media in some way, fashion or form. So we know that what's being presented there, 90% of the times is going to be probably fluffed up a little bit. And so people are still looking for that authentic stuff that's going to come through. And this is where the flip side of it is, are people looking for authentic or are they looking for real or are they looking for what could possibly scare people away as well? And I've found that a lot of people that actually get more work from social media are the ones that actually show absolutely everything. So we know that different parts of social media have certain things that they're really good at. So like your TikToks. So everybody knows a certain person that goes around and looks at homes and he's well known on TikTok and other platforms for calling builders out for dodgy work. So we know all about him and what he's done for changing people's opinions. That sort of thing, it is going to happen. So yes, there are certain aspects of social media that are really good. And look, that is one aspect that is really good because it's showing that, hey, look, these are the problems that are happening in the industry. But we also see that there's other things when it comes to social media. If you're going to be looking at building, we need to be able to see the good things that are happening as well. But sometimes what builders are putting out there isn't necessarily reflective of what's good. Sometimes they're just fluffing things up. And that's the double-edged sword because you don't know how much is real, you don't know how much is true, and that's where social media can sort of put I guess you could say, a bit of a questionable cloud over everything that's actually happening. So in my view, social media is great, but you can't just rely on that.
Yeah, it's probably only forms 10 to 20% of someone's marketing, really.
That's
Like,
right.
yeah, you really need you need a lot more than just that. As you said, you've got Photoshop, you've got, all those different types of things. Yeah, people can be hiding behind a screen and basically bullshitting, their way
Yep.
through a story or whatever and just saying the way it is. And some people will fall for it, but most the genuine people that you want to be working for are going to do their due diligence and actually work out exactly what this guy's all about and make sure that, we're working with some people's life savings or their, a big bank loan that they've had to take out. So it's their livelihoods, and then they've got to
Mm.
work to pay it off. And, I think, I genuinely know that the people that are on this podcast have the utmost care and concern when it comes to the customer relationship and the experience, because it's what we've been taught. So, and we're in that ever improving area. Andy, I'll flick over to you. How important do you think communication is, when it comes to say you ring a builder and he says, "Oh yeah, I'll get back to you on Monday," and it doesn't happen. What's that going to do for a potential client?
Yeah, great question. Straight away, you're setting the boundary. If you're not arriving on time, so going on big shout out to my dad. And my dad taught me this at a young age. He said, you always arrive time, 5 minutes early before you arrive on site. He said, it just gets a great standard. And that has happened on everything I've done from my phone calls. So if you're booked in for us on a call first, through our sequence of emails, you're booked in for we call it a triage call to find out what's happening. I'll call them 2 or 3 minutes beforehand and I get blown away by people's response. They're like, wow, you've called me on time. And I said, yeah. I said, that's the process. And they're like, didn't expect that. So that's another thing. If a builder's not calling you on time or he's not going to come on time when he tells you, that's setting a bad standard if it's going to be a big project, because you really want to get on with your builder. And like, if you're not having the connection, and this is the biggest investment, like Matt just said there, that you're going down into maybe a year to a year and a half relationship, maybe 2 years. And if you're not connecting and communicating at the very start, it's not going to go well. And for us builders too, don't forget, we're coming into this house to find out if we like you guys. It's not just you're picking us. We're actually looking across this table and going, am I wanting to put energy for the next 1 to 2 years with you in front of me? And that's the way I come in now. Before I used to take every project to feed the pipeline. And now I'm coming in to understand, going, do I like these people? Can I see myself working with these for the next 2 or 3 years? And that's the connection I want too. So unfortunately, people go for the cheapest builder, and that's when the communication map will go wrong. That's when it'll all go pear-shaped. And we hear time and time again. It's you can never over communication is the best thing you can do. And if it's not happening at the early stages, that's a red flag.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, most people wouldn't be aware, but we'll mention anyway. All of us, plus many other builders all around Australia, this is how we met. We're all part of the Builders Business Black Belt network, ran by Mick and Julie Hawes. They have taught us a lot of this that we're discussing now and in future podcasts as well. I would say, and I reflect on it nearly every day, that it's saved my business, because the clients that I used to have in the past that were not very nice, or I thought they weren't very nice, was it the way I managed the project and the communication and the lack of processes that I had in my business? Was that the reason? 100%. I take full ownership of why, but I'm also glad that I went through the experience and actually had that as a time of my life, so I could recognize and then not become one of those builders, like what the volume builders names are. Could you go into a little bit of detail? Mr. Jones or Mr. Smith or Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Smith ring you up for a potential job. You know, they've got something that they think they need doing at their house. Can you take us through the process from initial contact to, say, almost signing contracts? So I know it's a big area, but I think it's going to go into a fair bit of discussion in this podcast.
So the first thing now people do, a lot of people try to call builders and they try to get on the phone. And for us, we have the system that you come into the system of the work phone, and you'll go into an automation, and the automation then will go in and get the questionnaire, fill out all that documentation for us to figure out first if we're going to go to the next stage. And that's for me to have a scan through to see if this project is aligning with me. And if it is, you're going to go to the next stage. The next stage then is booking in a triage call, we call it. So they'll book in for that 15 minutes, Matt. And I take all the calls now. I used to be one of the girls in the office, but now I take them calls. The reason why, because I'm going to understand the project and the needs of what's possible and where we're going to go. And through that conversation in the 15 minutes, I tell them at the end, I say, guys, I think we are a right fit from what we've talked about. The next stage, if you want to come with us, is booking in an on-site consultation. That's booking me in for 1 hour, and we have a fee for that. We provide that service as a consultant, and we come out, and I'm coming out to understand their needs and frustrations and wants, and I'm there to see if our company can be the solution to that. And that's where it is. And I give as much knowledge in there as much as I can. And I tell them, I said, guys, I'm here to help you today to find out where we can take this. I said, I'm not saying I am the right builder for you, but I'm here to give you the guidance for how I would run this project. And if I'm going to take it, this is where we should go. And clients are just open. That you can see the husbands are always crossed arms because they see the builders coming in and going to take this money off us. And I'm just here, guys. I said, this is your forever home. If this is going to be 5, 10, 20-year home, I said, money shouldn't be a problem here. I said, you should be thinking of the end price. And I said, you're going to create the memories, the lasting things that are going to happen in this house. I said, this build will take a year or two. So just think of that one before I leave. And you can see the husband always uncrossing the arms then because he's like, the trust factor's here. Then we go to the next stage, Matt, is booking the consultants in, is a draft person, an architect, and I'm coming back again into that meeting with them because I'm sitting at the edge of the table and I'm just listening to seeing if anything has changed in that first meeting, which it can happen. Oh, we want to throw an extra kitchen, an extra bathroom. I was like, okay, I'm just stepping into this conversation. That's an extra 100 grand, 150, 200 grand. And they're like, oh yeah. I said, we're noting that now because of you're going to go down and get all these drones done. And you're thinking that the price that you told me is the price that it should be. I'm just putting it in now just to let you know the cost has gone up, guys. So straight away, they're like, yep, now we understand. And then we go to the next round of costings. Once we get drones, we would do a first round of costings. It's like a QBE, we call it, a building estimate to figure out where the price is going. And that's on the first set of drones. So it gives low, mid, or high end of pricing for them. And then they'll hit me and they'll go, Andy, we want to be in that park. And I said, that's fine. Now we're going to go to the full working drawing set. And that's full elevations, full drones, everything for the whole house. And that will provide between a 10 to 40 page document to get to them the fixed price. But usually the clients are blown away when they come to that stage because it's probably gone up or it's gone down. It's usually gone up over that price, whatever it's going to happen, because all the finishing fixtures and everything. And then they'll have to make a decision. Can we afford it? Do we drop it? And then we just go to the next stage. Then Matt, sign the contract, getting the indemnity insurance, start scheduling the job. But that can take any client from my first meeting to get the contract signed, could be anything from 1 to 5 months.
Yeah, brilliant. I'll go over to you, Dean and Shannon, and one of you can answer this. Like if a builder comes and says, oh, we would like to sit down and work with the architect or the draftsman, because it's not normal common practice, is it? Normally it's the builder gets contacted. Oh, I've got a set of plans. This is what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. How important do you think is it that the builder offers to sit down with prospect A or B or whoever it is and go over the project right from the start?
We really get excited when people come to us before they have plans because we just know how much it has saved them financially by not having drawn up what they've got and they can't afford it anyway. I think it's, absolutely the way it should go. I don't know why people are educated to do it around the other way. Building design we go to first. That sounds correct. Yeah, I think it's a lot smoother process when we can have an input in, and we have a really good relationship with our building designers as well to find out what they're actually wanting. And as Andy said, walk through and then be present in that meeting with the designer to say, hey, hang on a minute, this is going to really affect the financial cost if you make that change, even if it seems small to them. From a practical sense, it's just imperative for people to come to a builder first. I think it's going to save thousands and thousands of dollars.
Definitely. And we do a similar process as Andy with our QBEs, quick build estimates, which is very cost effective for potential clients that are looking to build, renovate, extend, whatever project they may be looking at. Speaking with a builder first who has a good knowledge of the industry to then say to their client, okay, you're looking at doing A, B, and C. Your budget is $200,000. This is what we sort of can see you can get for that sort of budget, rather than the other way that we've had clients come to us who have spent a substantial amount of money with architects or draftsmen, building designers, and have paid anywhere upwards to $20,000 to have a full set of working drawings, throw them down on the builder's desk and say, yep, he said I could have this for $200,000 to $300,000. We go and do a QBE on it and it comes out at $420,000. And they say, wow, that's nowhere near what we were expecting to pay and it's out of our budget. And that's why around about 80% of stamp plans don't go to construction stage.
Yeah, it's a frightening figure, that, because what we're trying to do, we're trying to help people save money in areas that, that they can. And I think that area that you touched on there with your QBE, I know that there's a few members of the Builders Business Black Belt that do the QBEs. I haven't ventured into them yet, but I will be. You look at architects and draftsmen anywhere between 10, 25 grand that people
Yeah, definitely.
that can spend on plans, for their dream home or their extension or their reno, whatever it is. What's the sort of rough cost of a QBE, or for someone to engage you to do a QBE and then, I guess, test the waters to see if their budget and the suitability of the project is going to go ahead?
In our business, our QBE starts off at 500 plus GST, so $550. It's probably different for some of the other builders out there. We use a program that is an Australian-based program. It's used by over 5,000 builders across Australia in all different states and territories, and that is basically creates an algorithm that we can start with even a basic drawing. It doesn't particularly need to be a scale drawing, but it's handy if someone has a bit of a concept drawing, which they have either we can draw up for them or a building designer they've been in contact with. We then enter all that in, and it gives us I think around the last calculations we were talking with those guys, they're running at about 92 or 93% accurate with projects won and lost, to give them low, medium, and high range of likelihood of the costing of that project. So for $550 for our business anyway, to have that peace of mind that by the time you spend your $20,000 on a set of full working drawings, engineering, council permits, and all that sort of stuff, that you're in a given sort of range that your project will cost that dollar figure. It's a minor fee to pay at the end of the day to have that assurance.
100%. Like, if you look at the difference of, with those stats that you gave of the 80% of plans not going to fruition, you got a $550 outlay here
Mm.
to test the waters and make sure that the project's suitable for everyone. And then you've got, wherever you want to take the plans.
Exactly.
It's just it gets back to what we were talking about in a past podcast about a custom builder versus a volume builder. So we're actually taking the time here to go over and making sure that we're all the right fit, as Andy discussed. And then you've got a process like that of $550 to hedge your bets, I suppose, and make sure that here it is in black and white that you can or you can't go ahead. Yeah, it's a guaranteed system, I think.
And people can also then take their ideas, and they're well educated, off to the building designer or architect, and they don't fall into that. I think that sometimes people can sit with building designers and go, I want this and I want that, and I might just chuck that in with no idea of the cost. They can go in and go, I know that this particular concept is going to cost me this much, and this is exactly what I want. And the building designer will go, okay, if that's what you want, then that's what we'll draw. Like, there's no just throwing it out there and going, let's add two more bedrooms, or just might need a bit of space. That won't add much onto it. So it just educates people to be confident to go to building designers and get drawn up what they want and pay for the drawings, instead of going back and having to pay another $5,000 to get them changed again.
Much better system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Hugh, I want to jump in because your niche market, I know you do not only the California bungalow styles, but it leads on to the next question that I've got here. How important is it for a builder like yourself, a custom builder, to have relevant local knowledge, heritage knowledge? Because you would work with you would have worked with projects in the past that would have had heritage overlays and things like that, versus going with a builder that doesn't even know what a heritage overlay is.
It's one of those fun things, because every builder really has their particular skill, and
Like a niche. Like
It's very much a niche, and I guess you could say it's one of those fun things that over the years, like we've all seen this is one thing that really bugs me when I see it. It really pisses me off. So beep that out if you have to, but it's quite irritating when you see someone driving down the road and they've got the signage all over their car and it says specializes in all aspects of.
Hmm.
Okay. If you went to a builder and it said on the side of their van, it said it specializes in all aspects of building, that to me is a fucking worry. And the reason being is there is so much involved in it that if you're specializing in all aspects of building, then what are you specializing in? Are you specializing in multi-unit developments? Are you specializing as a multi-unit high-rise development builder? Or are you just specializing in bathrooms? But all aspects of building, it's such a cop out. And another one that I always see is all specializing in all aspects of carpentry. There's so much to do with carpentry. Which one are you really a specialist in? Doing decks, doing a frame for a house, doing a fix, all this sort of thing. So when it comes to a builder that has a particular niche, in mine being California bungalows, there are heritage listings. There are overlays that are involved in it, and not every builder is going to know about those particular items that come into building heritage style homes and what conditions come along with a heritage overlay. There's a buttload of other overlays that come into building, and I may not know what they are, but when it comes to the area that I do work in, because I'm specializing in California bungalows, we have those heritage overlays. We have the overlays with trees. So the landscape overlays and that sort of thing that come on the property. So we know that when it comes to doing that type of work, if we're attracting people that come to us straight away and say, we've got a heritage overlay on our property, they're going to be a client that's going to be drawn to us because we've got that experience with that. And we advertise that as well. When it comes to those particular aspects of choosing a builder, you're going to know right from the get-go, if you've got a modern house and you're looking for a modern extension to go on the back of it, that's going to be the first thing you're going to be looking for. You're not just going to be typing in wherever it is, I'm just looking for a builder, because then you'll just get everybody that turns up and you're going to be sifting through little bits and just going, oh, crap, I think I'm confused by all of this. Whereas if you know that you've got a particular type of house, you're looking for a particular style of house or construction of any kind, then narrow it down to a particular search field, you're going to be able to find the builder that's going to be more suited to what you're going to need. So finding that niche is really going to help.
So I guess that the diligence from an owner, from their perspective, they almost need to put, and we can educate them at the start if they haven't got an idea about what we're talking about or what that most people, some people wouldn't even know that they are actually living in a California bungalow style. Like it's probably true. I think we as proper builders, and this gets back to why you should research your builder and how you choose the right builder. If we've got a process in place that says, have you thought about this? Have you put any research into this? Have you contacted council? Have you done a planning permit? Little things like that. We can then arm ourselves with all that ammo in order to give the prospects better education and all that to make their experience better, so that they're not having to run into extra costs through the build. We tell them at the start, and then there it is.
Yeah, definitely. Look, one of the things that you just sort of touched on then is that aspect of, are you being asked questions by a builder when you contact, right? Is the builder actually, I guess you could say, is the builder qualifying you? Are you going to know whether they're qualifying you or not? That's a different question. But when it comes to a builder actually asking you questions, are they asking you the relevant questions and making you think to yourself, holy crap, I don't actually have the answer for that. That sounds like it's probably going to be a really important question to actually answer. So let's go through this and actually find out. And a good builder, a good company to work with is going to be one of the ones that says straight up front, sort of like what Andy did earlier, if we're not the right fit for you, we're going to tell you straight away. And if they're not saying that to you right from the get-go, to me, that's a red flag. As we've learnt over the years, being in business as long as we have, the experience that everybody gets from the first moment that we speak to them, within those first 5 minutes, we're going to know whether that's going to be good or bad.
Yeah, and also on their behalf too. They'll know.
Yeah.
Like you can't, and we don't want to. You don't want to pull the wool over people's eyes and trick them into a job. Like we want to make sure that we're the right fit for them and they're the right fit for us, as Andy touched on before. Hey, Paul, I'll jump over to you for a second because Andy mentioned a word before that people might not be aware of in the building game, and that was proposals. Most people, would just relate to the word quote. As we use the word proposal because this is what we propose. How much detail do you go into your proposal compared to the run-of-the-mill builder that's down the road that might throw a couple of sheets of paper on the desk and there it is? How much effort do you put into your proposals for prospective clients?
It depends on the size of the job a little bit, but we do the QBEs very similar to what Dean was talking about before with the range, and it's usually a high, low, mid. It's 20% usually between high and low initially, just as an estimate before they go to the next stage. Then depending on the size of the job, whether we quote it ourselves, but it's usually an itemised quote with a full specification of each particular item, so they know what they're getting. But we do outsource the bigger ones to quantity surveyors, which will come back with an extremely detailed quote, which depending on the, if it's a $200,000 or $300,000 job, it'll be 10 pages long. If it's a $1 million job, it'll be 50, 60 pages long, and it'll itemise every particular trade and all the materials and everything right through from start to finish. So it's a fully detailed proposal in that regard. It's not just a lump sum figure. It gives you a lump sum figure at the end, obviously, save you adding it up, of course, but you can go through and see where there are savings if you need to make savings or where there's adjustments if you need to adjust things. It makes it easier for the client as well as us if we need to look back on it.
It also goes back to what Dean and Shannon were saying before about working with, the QBEs, and I'm not bad-mouthing architects and draftsmen, so don't ring in and write in and all that sort of stuff if you want, but they're not working with the products all the time, are they? We're working, like you mentioned there before about savings, and I think that's a word that we like to use for our prospective clients because they don't want to hear the word cost. They want to hear the word savings. And ultimately, the job is going to cost what the job is going to cost. But if we can use alternative products, alternative solutions, different kinds of cladding, I know bricks have gone through the roof, brick laying prices have gone through the roof. So your standard garden variety home is not that cheap anymore. Do you put effort into talking with clients that have plans already that where you could maybe save a little bit of money and help them out?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we do. And if you've got a full breakdown of all your trades and all your materials, you can go through and you can look at that component and you can take that, say like we'll take bricks out of there and we'll put cladding in or something like that, and you can just adjust that quite quickly. It's quite a simple process. So you can do that. But we like to try and get it right from the start, though, if we can. That's what we sort of tend to lean towards. The same as, we get back to the QBE. We charge for the QBE as well. And it's just, I know some of them, we're charging $330 and, if Dean and Shannon are charging $5. Some guys are doing them for a couple of hundred, I think. Just using it just pays the subscriptions on the software and that we're using, which is an industry-leading software, which is also a third party. So you're not relying on your own knowledge. You're actually getting a second opinion, so to speak, which gives you a bit more confidence that you're right on the mark. And that kind of money is just lunch money compared to what you're going to spend on your house. And I've had plenty of people that have, lost, as you talked about before, tens of thousands of dollars on plans. So we like to come in at the start and work as a consultant with them. And then I can keep the architects and draftsmen in check from the start instead of the client going there and then they get carried away and the price blows out. So I can go to the architect and say, this is what we're building, this is the budget, and do a quick draft and then check the price, make sure it's going to be okay. Say, no, we need to change that because it's getting over their budget. And I know where their budget is before we even started, before they've spent a cent. The clients don't have to worry about going and getting a plan drawn that's going to blow out and then be wasted because they're not going to proceed with the project. So that's where it's really beneficial if the people can come to the builder first. But a lot of people don't understand that. That's what we probably need to get out there is to the public that they need to go to a builder first, spend a couple of hundred and get a ballpark estimate before you go wasting thousands of dollars on plans. And then if your builder's prepared to do it and step in like we will as a consultant through the process all the way from there to completion, basically. But even if you're just doing that process from the start to when the plans are finally approved, at least you know that you're going to get it within that budget that you've allowed for and not have a big blowout.
Yeah, I think a word you used there before was slowing down a little bit. When it comes to the building game, I think people get a lot of urgency about, and it's derived from excitement. Like they get their plans and they look at it and go, oh, shit, I can't wait for this to happen. And it's going to give us so much more freedom in the house. It's going to open this wall and open that one and get a brand new kitchen and whatever it is. But I think it's all smoke and mirrors at the start, as everyone just sort of goes in almost with a blindfold on. Andy, how important do you think it is? It's like the foundation for a house. We always take our time with that part. How important do you think it is to slow down at that point and follow along the lines that Paul was talking about with, sitting down with your builder through the whole time?
Yeah, the biggest investment you're going to make is buying or building or renovating a house. And if you don't do the effort at the front end, I'll just give you an example. So we done a big project there 2 years ago, lovely client, and she didn't get an interior designer involved. She said, Andy, I'm happy to do this myself. So we try to bring these consultants in because some people haven't got a clue of what to pick or what tile or what. And we're builders at the end of the day, like we'll build it to the scope that's on it. And she went down and lovely clients, best project ever done. But she had up to over 40 something variations on the project because she was kept changing on the fly. And that takes time. And that slows us down. Like what you said, it's literally you're stopping us from what we're trying to do and achieve. And then you're hitting them with a big vast of variations as you went in, which was over about 50 or 70 grand through the project. And I asked her at the end, I said, what was the number one tip that you could do if you're doing this over again? I'd get an interior designer to come through, game changer. And then we done a renovation 6 months later and we had 2 variations on a 3-month build, which is unreal because the front end was loaded, like all the specs, everything was dotted and nothing should change now. And for the cost of that interior designer, say $10,000, and that seems like a lot of money, but when you say there's only 2 variations on a project that we done with an interior designer, and then you have no interior designer and there's over 40 plus variations, thank God the clients had money because they were like, we're paying the variations because we want to change. But as much as you can, do as much on the front end, slow down. If it's taking an extra month or 2 to organize it because things will pop up. And if it's documented right at the start, it shouldn't be any hassle. But as we know, guys and girls, stuff comes up in projects and we have to have conversations and all you can do is communicate.
Yeah, 100%. I think that, what we've discussed here is brilliant, and it's only going to help people. And that's, as we've discussed in other podcasts, that's why we're here. We want to help people. We want to change the industry, and we want to get it away and get it back into the customers, so that we're all benefiting from the experience and the whole thing. I want to thank our cast today that we've had here, for our members again. The most important thing that I've taken out of this is, and for people to maybe take note, is find a builder that communicates well, find a builder that has a brilliant process system, and just find a builder that cares. Because if you can find someone that is going to take the time to sit down with you and go over everything and really slow that process down at the start, it's only going to end in a brilliant experience. So. And that's what we're all about. So thanks for your time, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to Builders Beyond Borders. If today's episode helped you feel more prepared, clearer, or more confident, share it with a mate who's planning their own build or reno. Got a question about building, renovating, or working with tradies? Send it our way. We might cover it in a future episode. And don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss the real stories, practical tips, and builder insights we've got coming your way. Everything shared on this podcast is based on our experiences and those of our guests. It's general info only. Any reliance on the information provided is done at your own risk.